All right. So my apologies. I'm 21 minutes late getting this out there, and there's reason for that. So I had this grand idea to film with my gimbal a walking and talking video, which I did yesterday, and it worked great. It was going to be a Wednesday reflection, but it was going to be moving around and doing stuff. Hold on.
Oh, what a nasty dog. Oh, what a nasty dog. Oh, what a nasty dog.
Just FYI, I'm streaming, so.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Just don't tell any dirty jokes. Sorry about that. Anyway, so the whole thing was this great walking and talking video like I've done before, and it didn't work. I filmed it 3 different times, and the video, for whatever reason, kept not doing right. Like it would stop. It would stop playing back halfway through the file, even though it had recorded for 9 minutes. It would only play for 6 of those minutes. Anyway, so here I am. I'm going to basically recap what I was going to talk to you about. And it's this. I want to talk to you about leisure time. Our society, locally, nationally, globally, really puts a hard emphasis on your work, your job, your labor. And that could be your work, meaning your schooling and your accomplishments scholastically and athletically, if that is what you do throughout the day. It could be your employment, if you are employed. It could be how you keep your home, if you are doing that as your labor. Whatever that might be, whatever you do with your time, and what you're producing. What you are producing, what you are reaping, all that stuff. And how you are successful with that. And that is a lot of how we're valuing people and our lives. And so someone who comes in and is the first one into work and the last one to leave, you keep thinking of that someone who's doing all this courageous work and really selfless. Well, they're really a go-getter, and so the fact that their job is more important than the rest of their day or the rest of their life is now seen as admirable. Versus someone who clocks in right when they're supposed to start and clocks out exactly when they're supposed to clock out, and then goes home to say be with family or friends. They are just doing barely what they need to do. And I think it should be inverse. I think you should ask the person who is staying after for work and throwing themselves either selflessly or selfishly into a job, if they're okay. And here's why I say all these things. I am the last person who will take his or her free time. I'm really bad about claiming vacation days. I'm really bad about taking sick days off. Now with a kid, I will, it's a lot easier for me to take a sick day because I'm looking after my child or my spouse. But especially when I was living by myself, I would never take off sick days from work. It was just too much. Have to make up the work later or find a replacement or a substitute. And I didn't really take off my vacation days. I hoarded them for special things, like that trip I'll eventually plan, and I would never plan it. And so I really struggle even now taking time off. I think the only time I've taken off this year was when I or my family have been sick, and 1 or 2 times when I knew I had to run up to Jackson for the day. And I counted that as a day off. And so, anyway, for me, doing something that is a standalone vacation is a big deal for me. And that, was hard for me to recognize. And so Many of you know last week the McClartys did go on our actual first vacation. It's the first standalone real vacation we've done since becoming a family, since Waverly was born 4 years ago. Yes, since Waverly was born, we have traveled. We flew to Austin to visit a seminary. We did a road trip to visit this place. We flew to Chicago for a family wedding. We went to Virginia for a friend's wedding. We did fun things. We just didn't do them. Like, every trip and every place that we visited either had a school attachment to it, a business attachment to it, or a family obligation or an event attached to it. It wasn't a standalone time to just be on vacation. And when we did schedule like family vacations with like the in-laws, weather would cancel our travel plans or something like that. And so the fact that we were able to actually do a purpose-built standalone vacation was amazing. And I felt kind of bad about taking time off, even though my contract says you have this many days off. Yet I felt guilty about actually taking it. And that's bad. Like, I need to work on that myself. If you feel bad taking your earned vacation, then let's talk, because that's something we all need to release that guilt, because it's not earned. It's actually kind of a perversion of our reward and our work-life balance. The Bible says that even the laborer deserves to be fed. And that's, one, saying that, if you do good labor, you should be given, your due payment. But it's also a part about, recognizing that your food is your nourishment. And I'm not just talking about financial compensation or, getting the groceries you need to live. I'm talking also about time away from work is nourishing, is really good. And there is a whole work-life balance that is important. Case in point, I don't know about you, but I go to bed every night and sleep, because during the day we have our waking hours, our walking around hours, and we get a lot of stuff done. And yet we still have to stop and recharge every night. And so taking time off to recharge and renew and to replenish and to step back and look at other things and be filled that way is no different than sleeping at the end of the day. I mean, we already know what it's like to work and then rest, and so it makes no sense not to go to work, earn vacation days or sick days, and then actually take them and rest. And so, anyway, so 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31 says that whatever you eat or whatever you drink or whatever it is you do, do it to the honor and glory of God. And I feel that having a balanced life honors and glorifies God. I mean, so when we went to the beach, I made the most of the time off by making memories and enhancing my relationship with my wife and child. I remember fondly as a kid growing up, whenever we would do vacations to the beach, my dad would always go out and buy just an inexpensive kite. And he was always fascinated with flying the kites at the beach. And so Emily went to the store and got us a kite so that I could show Waverly how to fly kites. I had mentioned how important it was to me, how much of a memory, you can't go to the beach without having a kite. And it's not like kite flying was a big part of my childhood. It was just a signature part of my beach experience. And so if I'm going to go to the beach, I got to have a kite. And if I'm going to take my little one with me to the beach, I'm going to show her how to fly a kite. Much in the same way, Emily is going to stop and show Waverly how to build sandcastles and how to dig the moat and how to pour the water and what kind of consistency and hydration the sand needs to form the castle. And so watching her teach Waverly how to build sandcastles, watching me showing Waverly how to get the kite going, and then once she had it going, just the joy on her face, that was beautiful. And in that moment, in those kinds of moments, any fret of oh no, I'm not getting things done at work, or oh no, we're spending money eating out instead of making sandwiches from cheese and bread and ham from the grocery store. The fact that we were splurging on eating. Okay, sorry, look, there was a problem, but it's back. It's important that you take the time to cultivate relationships with those around you, whether that's budding new relationships or friendships or romantic relationships, or whether it's maintaining those long-term relationships you have with your nuclear or chosen family. That is also a part of life. And so if you stop work and you turn off your email or whatever it is you do to just cut off your work day from your home life or your personal life, do it. Absolutely do it. When I was a teacher, I didn't check my work email when I wasn't at school. I didn't have it on my phone for years. It wasn't until the last 2 years I worked there when I for the purposes of my job, needed to be kind of on call as for pastoral response. I didn't have my work email on my phone. And so if you basically couldn't get a hold of me until I went physically back to the desk. And that was great. That was a great way to work. If you can do it, do it. I also feel the same way about cable news. I don't actually watch the news. Now, if a story comes across my day and I want to go look into it, it's always there. I can always pick up and actually research a headline, but I don't actually follow the news in the way of having it on in my house during the day. And I think I live a happier life because of it. Anyway, that's a whole other thing to worry about. We are meant to do more than to work. And so giving up the idea that not producing something is shameful is a dangerous way to live. Keep in mind, it's common for people who are transitioning out of the workforce into retirement to have problems with that transition. Many times, retired persons will go back into another job, maybe working part-time at a convenience store, or not convenience, or a retail store, or doing bookkeeping for a small business. Something that they can do to fill part of their week and still feel productive, or, maybe taking more of an active role in like grandchildren's lives or something like that. That's a good thing to do. And that's the kind of transition that you can do. You say, well, my talents are still vital. My time is still vital. I'm just producing different stuff with the hours of the day. And again, just because you're not working doesn't mean you're not useful and not purposeful. You can do things that provide great value to the world around you, or at least to the people around you, by calling and talking and keeping up with how they're doing, helping someone, run errands, just being there with them when they need someone to talk through a problem, or, help someone organize their closet. It could be something as simple as just being there with them and keeping someone company while they're doing a task or chore. That's something that we can all do. And I feel that giving those extra moments to one another is important. All right, so that's how we help others. But how do we help ourselves? Again, rest and renewal is good. And that's not to say that work is bad. Work is not bad. Work is good. And leisure is not bad. Leisure is good. They are a both and. We do receive lots of purpose and fulfillment from our good labors. We also receive lots of fulfillment and purpose from our own interest and our own leisure. And so that's why I want to talk about for just a sec is that how do we renew ourselves? Simply put, turn off the work, the work email, the work phone, or whatever it is, if you can. Cultivate relationships with those around you, your friends and family and whatnot. But also take time just for yourself. And that could be indulging in a hobby. And I'm not going to say indulge as in if it's a rich thing that you shouldn't do, a bad thing, you're indulging. But really do take some time to relish a hobby and to spend time really looking into something specific that you yourself enjoy. And you don't have to be good at it, and you don't have to be great at it. You just have to enjoy it. For years, I was a home brewer and really enjoyed that hobby. For a long time, I really wanted to get into leathercraft and to make wallets and bags and things. Only because I never could find the exact right wallet that I wanted, and so I was going to make it. I didn't make this, but I have plans to take this design that I bought from someone online, a leather crafter I respect online. I'm going to take this design. I'm going to make something even better with it that's going to fit my exact custom needs. But that's what got me into leathercraft. I got a bunch of equipment and supplies for it. I just haven't actually started it yet. So that's a hobby for another day. Currently, as I'm sure you're all aware, I do way too much barbecue and meat smoking. So every week I'm out on my offset smoker making a delicious pork butt or brisket or some other grand thing. This weekend I'm doing ribs, as a matter of fact. And so that to be said, find a hobby and live into it. Or if you don't want to do a hobby, learn about something that interests you to an degree of detail that really is just beyond some surface knowledge. If you've always kind of wanted to know more about World War II history, start becoming a World War II history buff. Read some books. If you've always been fascinated with screen printing, take up screen printing. Make some fun T-shirts. Write something. Draw. Do something that is just for you. And that's not to say that you have to produce a thing. I mean, I'll be honest, I could spend the day watching some science fiction and feel very good about it. But I also want to ingest some good creative output from artists like writers and producers and actors and people who are producing good creative content or good intellectual, nonfiction stuff. I want to consume that because I love that stuff. But I want to create. For example, I have this microphone because I did music for a while, and then that transitioned into I needed a microphone for podcasting, and I started getting really into podcasting. I have been very bad about podcasting the past few months, and that's on me because I haven't really carved the time out to do it. Anyway, that's getting way too more into me than needs be said. My point is that finding time to enrich yourself, enrich your relationships, and then also, keep up the whole, work thing, is all good, is all important. And we shouldn't shame ourselves into only thinking that one thing is good and the other things are bad. People will help you take up slack when you're away from work, or, will understand if you can't get to that until next week because you're on vacation. It's okay. If you are at a point where you can't leave because it just will all fall apart without you, then you are over invested in that enterprise and you need to take a step back. You need to go find 3 days to, go to the mountains or do something leisurely, because you do need to get away from that. And maybe that can show you that this part of this project really can be passed off to somebody else, or really can wait until later. You will always have more things than you can do. Just like I always have more things I can be doing here at the church. However, it's important for me to step away, because when I come back after my rest and my respite, I am better at doing my job. I'm certainly better at doing my job when I've had time away. And in a way, there's a paradox, because I'm not saying that the purpose of leisure is only to be better at your work, because that would put a primacy on the work and not on the rest. I think they're balanced. I think you need to have both. Too much rest, you'll be sitting around doing nothing, and you won't be able to get up off the couch and actually do anything because you have too much rest. It's like eating nothing but cake. You can't just eat cake and icing. You got to put in some lettuce. eat some good food too. You have to have a balance, both in time, in hours of the day, hours of the week, but also just a balance of importance. I think your time away from your work and your labor is just as important as the work itself. All right, so that's basically all I have. Sorry about I got a little introspective for a bit, but I hope this has meant something to you. If you would, please like and subscribe to the YouTube page. We had a pretty fun test where I was able to stream both to Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. We're going to try to see if we can keep that going again this Sunday for our worship. But beyond that, please let me know how you're doing. I'm trying to go around and call people, go down my list and kind of make my rounds of phone calls. So if I haven't talked to you in a while, my apologies. I'm trying to get through all that. But if there is something that is weighing on your mind or needs some immediate attention, please don't hesitate to email me. There are links down below for all that contact stuff, and I am glad to share this message with you. I hope to see you on Sunday, and my beautiful Redeemer friends and family. As always, God bless.